my brain was already like, you're not good enough, you got to do better, you got to do this. Like I ended up crying. Like I was like, wow, I haven't like cried in a while. It's getting suffocating over here, I can't breathe.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Highest Version Podcast. I'm your host, Randy Philivong, and on this podcast, we talk about falling in love with the process of getting better every day and becoming the highest version of ourselves. Today's guest is Pirak Som. He's a Cambodian American that I deem the shifty king. I mean, I play basketball with this dude, and just like, is he going there? Is he going over there? I just literally look at him like Jordan Poole looking ass. But in all honesty, like, he's a true king. He's a great guy, and honestly, I'm gonna take this chance to get to know him, and he has a very inspiring story that I want to dive into. So, what's up, man? Welcome to the pod. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Doing pretty good. I'm excited to be here for sure. Like it's definitely nerve-wracking to be here on a pod. Just never done something like this, but I'm definitely here. So,
well, happy that we're gonna get into it. I know I feel like we've had I wouldn't say like a lot of interactions, but like when we kind of talk, it's always like, you know, coming from good, genuine standpoints, and like you even gave me like a good health fitness technique for me to like work on my joints, which is another thing in my introduction was that he's passionate about health and movement. So
yeah.
So yeah, I appreciate that, and I know you're just a genuine, nice dude from the jump.
I appreciate that.
So before we get into questions, my own questions, we're getting to the Funko Pop of the episode, and that is Black Panther. This is the first time that I'm actually featuring a Black Panther to a guest, so wow. This is huge. Just because I'm a huge Black Panther fan.
Yeah.
Funny story is that in college, when like you know, kids would be going out for Halloween parties and stuff like that, I was a Black Panther for like maybe 3 straight years. So like, because that's how much I loved it.
Yeah.
But the reason why I resonate you with Black Panther is because, one, you're king, so you know, and the other one is, like I said before, just you being like shifty as hell, like, and being a Black Panther, like he's just moving fast and stuff like that. So, king, shifty, for me in my head, that's Black Panther right there.
I appreciate it. That's dope.
But yeah, man, let's get into it. I have a good amount of questions for you just to get to know you on even like not surface, but like just on a deeper level. Mm-hmm. So the first question I have for you is like, you know, where did your passion for health come from? Movement, being passionate about like how the body moves.
It definitely came from just sports, like just growing up with sports. My dad put me in sports. I played soccer, played basketball, played baseball. Like I just genuinely liked being around, and I just met a lot of friends through it. So, and I think my passion also just came from like my injuries too, and the pain that I had to experience in certain situations. So then that's why I was just like, okay, how can I move more efficiently or move better so that I am healthy long term and enjoy this as long as I can with the people that I want to meet, you know?
Yeah. So what injuries have you had in your past athletic history?
I like to downplay my injuries for some reason. I don't know why I do that, but I just had bad ankle injuries when I was younger, especially in soccer, but I just played through them most of the time. The worst one was probably my shoulder. I was like, they were playing at a court back in Lowell. They call it Bailin, and I used to play there every single day or just like every single night after high school. And I was just playing, and I was also doing gymnastics. Okay. So, because I was doing gymnastics, I was just like flipping around and just doing fun things like that.
Yeah.
And after just one day of like playing at the court, I was just like super loose, super warm. I was like tired, but I was like, I want to pull out this flip real quick. And I went a Webster flip, like it's a front flip, but like you grab your leg. But I guess I just whipped out my arm, and it just like dislocated like this. I could probably send you the video later. I was like, can someone put this in? Put this back in?
Yeah.
So,
dude, that because my girlfriend, she dislocated her shoulder. I just see like the pain to put it back in. Like, did someone like on the spot like put it back in, or did you go to like the ER?
I went to the ER. My friend was there, and we just drove there. I was just hunched like this in the front. He was like, yo, this is starting to hurt. And literally I went to the ER, and maybe like 10 minutes of just laying there. He put my arm right next to me, stood me straight, and then he lifted my arm, and then he went like this. All you hear, and I was like, was like, what the heck? That was it? And
Yeah.
it just like it felt fine after, but it was just numb, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, it took just that movement to like doom, it's in.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Which is crazy because you're like you would think it's like a whole like like a medical procedure to like like
yeah.
like doing tutting shit or whatever. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And they're like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
But how is like I mean, obviously you're still playing sports, you're working out.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of goes through your mind with just kind of like functioning with your body? Because I could imagine like there's some fear still of like dislocating again or anything like that.
Yeah. I mean, there was definitely a lot of fear that happened after it happened. Like even after the incident happened, there was a few weeks, it took a few months of like PT and stuff to get back into it. But even the year after of just like getting back into high school, like playing that season,
Yeah.
it was still like subluxing. And subluxing is just like partial dislocation where it just goes in and out.
Yeah.
Basically, like I guess the muscles were just like not strong enough to keep it in
Mm-hmm.
at some point. So, but I didn't know that at the time. Like I was a high schooler just playing sports. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I didn't know shit.
Right.
So yeah, there was a lot of fear for like maybe I probably didn't even get over that fear until like recently, like maybe late last year, 2024, and like
shit.
and like now it's just like okay, I'm starting to get back into it, but it's because like my friends are also pushing me at the same time. It's like, oh, you do all this work, like why are you so scared to like, like you put so much work in, like you should trust yourself. And like, and I was like, okay, yeah, I do a lot of mechanic stuff. Like I go through the motions. I be conscious about how my body is. So I'm just like, I should give myself grace to get over this fear little by little. And every single time I exposed myself, it was just exposure therapy at that point where it was like, oh, okay, it didn't hurt. Oh, okay, it didn't hurt. Oh, it's actually feeling strong. Oh, so like it's just like repetitive like exposure therapy that I was just doing slowly, and I think that's how I got over the fear. So.
I mean that's hard for a lot of people, especially like if they were like say if you were to probably dislocate it again. I mean that probably takes a lot of confidence away from you, right? Yeah.
Yes.
I just luckily, knock on wood, I've been able to function without injury. Like my worst injury has been a bruised tailbone. I was going for a layup and it just like
Oh,
yeah.
I follow your ass. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was just like, what the? But the adrenaline is there, right? This was in the middle of like a high school game, and like adrenaline was there. I just got back up, and then like I had to play a state game the next day, and like I just couldn't walk. Like I was just like, I can't run without like it being extremely painful.
Yeah.
And I just sat out, and I was like, this sucks. And we ended up losing that game, and I was like, all right, well, it is what it is. But still, injuries are no joke when it comes to your mind, for sure.
It is, yeah.
But exposure therapy, I mean, that's a obviously I think it's a good method to go with. But like that probably wasn't the first method you thought of, right?
No, probably not. Because I only learned exposure therapy. I've only figured out that term because of psychology class that I took maybe last year. And I was like, oh, okay. So it's just like repetitive. But I mean, how I got that was definitely not my first method. My first method was PT, physical therapy. And then just I used substance, which is like cannabis. Okay. So then when I was hurt, it just like brought me to a certain awareness of my body. Yeah. So then whenever like I got injured or whenever I wanted to try to figure something out within myself, I was like, I used it as a medium for me to like be conscious about it. And I set the intention to like really just, all right, what does this feel like? What should it feel like? Where do I feel strong? Where do I feel weak? And then it's just like now, okay, what should I look up or where should I like outreach to? Yeah. To kind of figure it out. I think it was just a lot of like emotional like times, but then I also just kept thinking about like, all right, I gotta figure out like logically, like as much as I'm emotional about how, like you said, it's a confidence thing. Like it took away a lot of confidence because I feel like I was an athlete that was picking up things quick, and I was learning things quick, and that fear just stunted my confidence like completely. So just going back into just research, and that's why I'm going into human movement and just learning about that stuff is just I used logic for a while, used physical therapy, and then after that I was like, okay, now it's just like you just gotta really just play, and you just have to like slowly just let yourself trust yourself, you know. That was something I had to do.
I mean, you came at a fork in the road, and you chose to be super intentional, But there's that other part of like where like yeah, I'm just gonna stop playing sports now because like that's I have an injury, like I don't want to injure myself again. I guess what made you go down the path of being intentional and be like I just need to get better.
I just loved it so much. Like it was just such a big part of my life, just being athletic, being able to move the way that I am, and the amount of joy from the people that I got to meet in those spaces. And like because when you're like honestly like when you're a little bit better than the average player,
Yeah.
you definitely stand out a little bit more, but also like people depend on you. And because people depend on you, like they also want to like reach out and also want to talk to you, but also ask for like, oh, how you're doing this and that. And I think that like it's a great conversation starter, but it's also a great way to make friends because it's sometimes I have a hard time bringing up conversation with other people that have different outlets.
Okay.
So I think just sports in general just have been a big part. And I couldn't, even when I took 3 years off of the sport, I was like, no, 2 years off the sport. When I went back to it, I was like, nah, I don't want this to be not part of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And after spending 2 years off because I had my injury, I was like, nah, I really want to get back into this.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's very honorable, memorable. It's like part of your identity, right? And
Yeah.
if you were to stop like letting it would, yeah. I mean, you're just letting a part of yourself go, which is very hard for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Can you remember how old you are right now?
I'm 25.
Okay. And then when you sustained the injury, when you had the injury?
I believe I was 16. So like end of my sophomore year, that's when I got the shoulder injury.
Damn. So not 6 years. So pretty much 8 years until you finally felt confident in yourself.
Yeah, when you put it like that, I was like, yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a whole journey in itself. What were in that journey to be more confident, playing sports after your injury? Like, what struggles did you have along the path?
I mean, right after it, when I played club, I couldn't serve with my right hand. So then I was like, I don't want to do an underhand serve. And I was like, I'm not doing that. I did it for a little bit just because I had to drop my like ego, but I ended up learning to swing my left hand. So I forced myself to learn lefts. That was another struggle because I was like, I still want to jump. I still want to see the view from the top and just play the game for what I imagined it to be at the time. And from there, it's like even my senior year, because confidence is a big thing. I lost a lot of confidence because I was only setting, but I wasn't being able to like help in another way. Because I always want to do more. When I'm on a team, I'm just like, I'm going to try to be my best. Like I'll do what I can, but also there are sparks of things when I'm like, oh, I'm feeling really good. Let me add something on top of it. But because there was still a fear, it was like, I had to stop myself. And that like stop button was what kind of just shut me down in certain situations. And I was like I can't. So, I mean, there was that struggle, and then going to like into dieting and see if that worked. And then going into just like the gym again. And yeah, there was definitely a lot of struggles in that little realm, but yeah, that was just a few of them.
For context, the sport that Peter was talking about was volleyball.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
volleyball.
Yeah, I mean, you were trying everything differently, which obviously it's like just try and see where that goes.
Yeah,
but I just feel like that point it's just like getting sucked out of it. Like that stopping button is like super tough because I know like you're a high flyer. Like I've seen you play volleyball and that shit is crazy.
Thank you.
So like I mean there had to be moments where you just want to explode, and then like I guess more just like how'd you overcome all like just that fear, Sorry, that was a very long way to get there, but like how'd you overcome that fear?
Just like a lot of emotions and sitting with it. Like you really like one of my friends got a bad accident with like his femur, and he was talking about like how he had to force himself. He was basically like bedridden, like he had to sit down and when I was reflecting, I was like, honestly, I was doing that a lot. I was sitting and just trying to figure out how I feel. And I think like that fear definitely, like I read a book that my one of my mentors recommended me. It was called Courage by Osho, and it was talking about like fear and all that stuff and how it kind of ties. And just learning about fear itself and the courage and overcoming that and just sitting with all the emotions that I had pent up from all of it, I think was very important to me getting over that fear, because if I didn't acknowledge and understand and accept what I felt, then I was just running away from it at that point, and then I'll never get over it. So
Was that the prime thing that you learned about fear in that book?
I think it definitely gave me more direction of like how to look at it.
Yeah.
And I sometimes pick it up every now and then, because sometimes it's just like it has some things I just missed like the first time I read it. So but they said like there was one thing it said, it was like the opposite of fear is love, because in fear we shrink, but in love we expand. And I think I just decided that my love for myself, my love for my body, my love for the game is a lot more than my fear that keeps me like closed.
So now you are a volleyball coach. At what level?
I coach high school. Yeah, high school now.
So how's that experience been? I mean, how many years have you been doing it so far?
I've been coaching for 3 years now, since I was 22. And I started off with middle school. It all started off with a whim though. Like I think one of my old teachers, also my basketball coach at the middle school, I came for a practice for one day, and he was like, "So when are you gonna start coaching?" And I just didn't really think about it. I was like, I don't know. Like I'm still a student. Like I don't know how to coach. What do you mean, coach? So I think it just another year passed, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna leave this full-time job, and I'm gonna try to. No, I didn't leave it yet, but at the middle school, I was thinking about it. Once I joined off the whim, I was like, I actually kind of enjoy this. This is fun. Like I didn't think it's a different perspective, and being in a different role from being student to being like a teacher of some sorts.
Yeah.
It was definitely a different perspective change, and I was like, oh, like I forget that I used to be here, and having to break things down for them also helped me better my game and like see what the emotions are when you are learning a new sport or just like getting into a sport. And I was like, oh wow, so like I'm not technically alone in like what it is that sports can do for you. So I saw the benefit of like how I can give like influence or just an effect within the coaching space. I was like, okay, I can help a little bit here and there. So
what is the thing? Has that coach ever told you what he saw in you to make him say like, oh, like when are you gonna coach?
I never asked that. I was just I never asked that, to be honest.
What do you think it was? What do you think it is?
I don't know. Sometimes I don't really know what people see in me. It's just like when you spend so much time alone, I don't really compliment myself. I never really complimented myself like that. I just kind of lived and through the lens of other people for so long because of comparison, just growing up in like that Asian household type of thing.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know what he saw in me. Maybe that I just enjoyed the sport a lot, and that I just wanted to be around it enough that you should coach it. So.
Yeah. I mean, just by you talking to me, like you're super passionate about it, and like we'll get into the nitty gritty. So like, I mean, maybe that's what he saw, and I could see that.
Yeah.
So you were coaching. So was your full-time job at were you doing like middle school? So I'm trying to understand the transition from like the student to the to
so I mean, I'm probably gonna bring off topic because 18 was when I left school.
Yep.
And when I left school, I ended up trying to work. So I worked in manufacturing, and then from manufacturing I went into biotechnology.
Okay.
And then during that middle school year when I started coaching, that was when I was in biotech.
Okay, gotcha. Yep.
So 22 was when I was in biotech. Middle school I coached, and then I quit biotechnology to fully commit to coaching a fall season for the girls in the high school.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I'm following now. Okay. What has been the most rewarding thing for you with coaching?
The most rewarding, I just think it's the people.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like because that for me, going in the intentions, like I know that I care. I didn't think I would care as much as I did, and I even asked the question to my professor that I really looked up to, as he was my psych teacher. But I was like, dude, I don't know why I care so much to like help these kids, and it's annoying me because the effort that I put in to like try to figure it out and be better as a coach and be better, because like I still think I have so much work to do as a coach. And I think caring is definitely one of the things that you need in order to want to help people. So I asked that question, I was like, why do I even care? But because I care and put the intention and the effort behind it, I ended up seeing like towards the end of the season where it's like, they want to have a conversation with you, one, but also two is like they want their help, and they also are very thankful for who you are and what you did for them. And I think just being a part of their journey and helping them and being a positive influence for them is like, okay, wow, so like I'm helping the community in a sense, so that, because if I ever wanted to continue living here or raise a child here in that space, I was like, I know that there are people that or were influenced well by me, and they're gonna grow and continue to take what I teach and maybe teach other people.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's all about spreading the knowledge and having a positive influence on the younger generation. So
yeah,
that's awesome, man. That's powerful.
Mm-hmm.
How did it feel when you were coaching at 22 to be talking to like these young, like they're like, are you sure you're good?
No, because like honestly, they thought I was. I mean, even now, like they still think I'm pretty young. They think I look pretty young.
Good.
And so like even like just going, when I went to the high school, I went there like for a whole season, every single day, and even the staff was like, "Oh, where are you going?" And I was like, "I'm coaching the high school team." and
You're like, I'm not a student.
I'm not a student. Yeah. So like it was definitely like trying to like get into the coaching position. It just felt like I was a student, one, but also two, I was like, but I'm also like a leader. So like I'm a student leader. So I took it at that as that at first. I was like, I'm a student and I'm leading though. So like I'm a team captain in a sense, but I also have a little bit more power than that.
Yeah.
So then it's just trying to figure that out in the first year was definitely hard, because like I'm not their friend. I'm their coach. I'm their teacher. I'm trying to teach them something.
Yeah.
But there's also a level of care that needs to be happening, and a level of trust that needs to be made. And then I just didn't know those lines yet, and I was trying to build those lines all on my own.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was. I think that hopefully.
Yeah. No, you did. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I just feel like it's like when you when you're in high school and you like because I think about this time sometimes, like your substitute teachers or when teachers are like 25 and like, damn, you're old.
Yeah.
But then now we're here, we're like, what the hell? Why are we get called old?
Yeah.
Like you feel young, and it's just like you don't realize like how much like when they were 22, 25, like how like that they really were at a young part of their life. And like we just young high school kids are just like, damn, anything over 22 is old.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think that's awesome. I think I definitely want to give back to my community too, in a sense of, I wouldn't say coaching, but in a sense of like, because I'm so big into mental health and personal development. I know my school, my hometown high school, gives out like these scholarships for, to help kids. Anything major, like 500, maybe a K. But I didn't hear a lot of people that were like, oh, I'm going in as like a psych major, and maybe helping someone, being like, hey, like, help build this generation of breaking down stigmas of mental health and see how that goes. I think impacting the community and things around you, like, is awesome. And that's what also gives you like a lot of network too.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like you're already doing it with like having this podcast. You're outreaching to people, and people are bringing in other people, and hopefully these conversations stimulate something, and that they'll go back to their communities, and then it's also posted so like people can come and watch, or your community can go watch if they knew you. So I feel like you're already doing that part.
Did those feelings, like your behavior of putting their feelings above yours, that come from people pleasing, come from like, what did that come from in your childhood, or maybe it wasn't even childhood?
It probably does come from people pleasing. It probably also just comes from being one of the first child born in the next generation. So like it's just the responsibility factor of considering things and also leading by example. So it's just like now it's considering a bunch of different people's emotions and making sure that I'm okay was like last priority, I feel like, at some certain points. So
that's a hard thing to deal with. How's your relationship with kind of your relationship with understanding that you also have the ability to be selfish and it's okay?
Say it again.
Ability to be selfish, and that it is okay to be selfish.
Yeah, it is okay to be selfish. And I mean, like I said, I'm gonna bring my psychology teacher again, because I talked to him about it. He's like, honestly, that selfless act of yourself probably needed it. You probably needed to be selfless at that point. And now, like now that you've been selfless, it's not, now you can just like be a little bit more selfish for yourself and like do your thing and just tend to your garden. Tend to your garden, and then water other people's gardens where you feel like you could.
I mean, a lot of people that have the mindset of like putting their partners feelings above their own, it's a tough thing to do. I'm kind of trying to dive into your mind, because I felt that way too at a certain point in my relationship, where I was putting their feelings above my own, and being like, oh, like you're a sucky boyfriend anyway, so just like it doesn't matter what you think, just try to figure out a way to make them happy. But through conversations with my partner and admitting to that, she was just like, why would you not, like, you are a person in this relationship too, like, why would you negate your feelings in yourself? Like, you also should communicate that, because that's also the truth. So by you not putting up or expressing your feelings, then, you know, basically like there's a portion of you just like living a lie.
Yeah.
And like, we need to figure out where our views and perspectives are and feelings are in order to understand how to keep moving forward. If you're just saying, oh, her way, then like, you're not really showing up as a person for a relationship too, you know?
That's very true. And I feel like also girls, or just women in general, are more emotionally in tuned, or because they go through more phases within the year because of just their cycle.
Yeah.
So they know what they feel, and how they express it may be different for each individual, of course. But like, for when I was a guy, like in high school, I feel like I didn't know my emotions. Like, how was I supposed to express it? Like, especially if you're not, if in the household they don't teach you how to like express, or like what you're feeling, or like kind of label it, then you just don't really know how to express it. And like, that was a frustrating part too, was like, I had to take a step away from relationships in order to figure out what it is that I feel, so that I can learn how to express it and just communicate it in a way that they can understand. Otherwise, you might say words or say phrases that triggers them, even though you were just trying to express what you felt. And that's the hard part of like those fights, because you don't really know where it's coming from, and you're not trying to like attack them. It's just, I'm trying to express myself, but I'm also scared to hurt you because I am trying to express myself.
Yeah. It's such a it's such a contradiction in your brain. It's a battle in your brain. Yeah, man. I mean, the way that you put it really resonated with me, because just like, yeah, that was how it was in the early part of my relationship. Just like, I'm not gonna really express myself because I don't want to hurt you. I don't want to make you upset.
Yeah.
Don't avoid the quote unquote fights. Don't even look at them as fights.
Yeah.
Look at them as like a conversation to like understand one another.
Yeah.
And I say this a lot. It's just like, I brought this to my relationship. It was like, our arguments or conversations are not about who's winning at the end. It's about, do I understand where you're coming from, and do you understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
There's also a nuance to that, because it's like, it's the thing of like trying to make someone understand you when like sometimes they don't, and like, I think that's also okay too. And it's just like, as long as you express yourself and just give your perspective in a respectful manner.
Yeah.
Respectful also is very subjective too, because I know some couples can like drop the F-bombs and swear and all that stuff, and it's fine. That's how they work. But for me, in my head, I've expressed like, don't swear, don't raise a tone, don't try not to raise a tone, don't use these specific words, or else like, I'm just gonna shut down and be like, and honestly say like, oh, I'm gonna, like, I should kill myself. There was a point in a relationship where like I would say that, and that's a lot. That was a lot on my partner, and when I look back at it, I feel like I just put a lot on her at that time, because she probably didn't feel like she could bring anything up, you know. And that's a whole problem in itself too, you know.
I was actually on the other side of that.
Oh, were you? Okay.
Yeah, they said they're gonna kill themselves, and then I was like, like, I don't want to disclose anything, but like, it was based on some situation like that, and there was an event that happened, and then I was like, holy crap, like, I have the potential of literally like being a part of someone killing themselves. It's like, what the like, this is scary as fuck.
Yeah, no, of course. And you're just trying to express it, like, say how you feel, but it's like how they respond, and it's like another thing. It's like, you are not responsible for how someone reacts and stuff like that.
Yeah,
that is I mean, I can only imagine how it was on your end and the decisions you had to make. I mean, it's tough.
Yeah,
but at the end of the day, like, you still had to, you know, do what was best for you.
For sure.
A lot of heavy thoughts there.
Yeah, that was very heavy. Yeah. I'm kind of glad I expressed that, because I haven't talked about this before, so it's good.
Yeah, I'm the one to take shit out of you.
Yeah, good shit. I love this.
All right, man. So I don't know, honestly, a lot about like how you grew up, and we actually didn't start with that. Usually I go from, you know, childhood and then like what's happening now. But I'm interested if you can give a quick synopsis of like what it was like growing up.
The first memory of moving into the household that I live in now was my grandma. She was driving me and Pichini, my sister, into the driveway, and we're just looking at our house, and it's like, and I feel like I just like was like, oh, we're like, I feel like in that moment, even though I was super young, I feel like I was like, oh, this is where we're gonna live for a while. And from there, just like knowing that my grandparents also took care of me. So I grew up with my grandparents, my mom and dad, and then my mom's sisters. They're 5 sisters, so there's 6 of them. And honestly, they kind of just took care of me as we grew up, like all the sisters. So like some of them just feels like moms, or some of them just feels like my aunts for life, that's just how it is. And then even my dad's side, like later my dad's side ended up like we started hanging out with my dad's side a lot more when I was getting a little older, and my cousins, I just was filled with a lot of like good people or good humans. Like, I mean, I know they were all growing and they all had their own like problems and struggles that they were going out with. And so I got the tail end of it every now and then, but I also had a lot of love because I was a first child within that gen. So then I was spoiled growing up. I feel like given a lot of love, a lot of attention, and because I was only a child, like you have 5 aunts, you have your mom, your dad, your grandparents, and it is just you, maybe your sister the next years, and it's like, oh, we're getting all the gifts, because we're the kids, so I definitely had a lot of love and food. I think Lowell like really gave me a love for food just because the Cambodian foods, and then my grandma, my mom, they're all cooking, they're chefing it up. Like you got like chow, like the yellow pancakes, as I used to love that. And there's just so many like I grew up with a lot of food, and I think food is also a big part of my childhood, and like loving that. And like I said, sports is a big thing that my dad gave me, because I was able to connect with him. He would bring me to his like friends to like see. I would go watch him play with his friends, like with Uncle Cheesy and stuff. So grew up with sports, grew up with my aunties, and just used watching like what's the show called, Family something. Oh my god,
Family Matters.
No. Why am I forgetting? Friends. No, it's not. It's not Family Matters. Like I grew up with Friends. I grew up with like Disney shows, because they would just all watch that, like all my aunts. So I grew up with that kind of like entertainment background. Grew up with some games like the PS2, and then I had the Nintendo. So I had games, sports, food. Had a lot of family, which was super important to me. And then friends was a big thing growing up. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much and we also traveled. We like road trips. We would travel road trip with my dad, because he just wanted to take to like the van and visit his friends that like were around other states. I didn't appreciate it as much at the time, but I did enjoy like being like going different places. As much as the drive was like, are we there yet?
Yeah.
Are we there yet? Like, I don't want to be here.
And we didn't have stuff to do. Like maybe a Game Boy if we were lucky, but still like it's either you just keep looking outside, or you just fall asleep and just wake up and hope that you're there. That shit.
Yo, is the moon following us? So it's like stuff like that. And we did have I think some point we had the Soccer Mom car, which is like a minivan, and it has like the
DVD player.
The DVD player, yeah. So then sometimes we would just have a movie going on, like a Disney show or Disney. I don't know what we had on, but we just watch movies, some Spy Kids or something.
Good one.
But yeah, I feel like I summed it up like pretty briefly. I don't know if you wanted to expand on anything.
Yeah, no, we're definitely diving deep into it. But as obviously an only child for a certain amount of time, as the first, like any pressures that you had to deal with.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
That's why I dropped out of school, bro.
Oh, there we go. I would get into that later, but okay, we can get into it now. So I guess how was it dealing with that pressure growing up, and we'll leave the school one for the later side.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I feel like it definitely made me step up. It made me like better as a person. Like that pressure makes diamonds. So I feel like it was making me into a diamond.
Yeah.
But yeah, it definitely was like hard, because it felt like there was a weight on me to really, really lead this next gen. and make sure that I'm a good role model for my upcoming little cousins,
Yeah.
and making sure that I have something so that I can get them involved, like with sports and stuff. Like I know they like sports, but also I just want to have a space for them to like
Yeah.
hang out with, because I know that my aunts and my uncles were always around with me, and I think that was super crucial to my development. And making sure that my cousins have that when they grow up is a big, if they don't have it now, hopefully they'll have it later for if it's my space or like other spaces within our cousins.
Yeah.
But yeah, at some point it became a little suffocating because I just didn't want to be shown off either. Because when you're first gen, you're also everyone else is also having kids
Yep.
at the time, and there's like it's not like it's a competition, but there's also like comparison that comes up. It's not their fault either.
No doubt. Yeah.
But like it kind of just happens, just I guess just naturally or just from within. But yeah, that comparison also led me to like compare other people, and it just made me feel not enough or inadequate in a lot of different outlets. And I was like, whatever I do, even however hard I work, is just like it's getting suffocating over here. I can't breathe.
Yeah, for sure.
So
I mean, all the aunties and obviously your mom probably talking about, oh, what's so and so doing, like what's Petey doing, like all this stuff. There's always that comparison, and
yeah,
I will say I don't have the experience of where a few times where like I get compared to a cousin, but usually I'm the one that's like one up, I guess you could say. When I started to grow up a little bit more, like going to college, they're like, oh, like, well, your cousin like is going to school in Connecticut saving money, so like why don't you like also do the same? Because I went to school at UMass Amherst, obviously playing out of state, all that stuff, and like, oh, like why don't you go get your master's, why don't you like, it's like kind of like at that, like those are the experiences where I've had like comparison in a negative light.
yeah,
And like I mean now I'm so numb to it. I'm just like I'm already doing what I'm doing. Like I'm showing my own version of success, and you guys can like take it or leave it.
I love that.
But being the quote unquote golden child has had a lot of its pressure. Many hours of sleep that I can't get back anymore.
Yeah,
Just because I was like, oh, this has to be an A, it has to be high quality, and stuff like that. How do you deal with pressure now?
I take it as a privilege for sure. Like I definitely saw some posts about it, and I was like, honestly, yeah, that's true. Like it's like, look at your circumstances, just be very grateful, and like try to expand on what you have. And like even if it does feel like it's like suffocating sometimes, or it feels like it's a big weight on your shoulder, it just means that you are trying, that I mean it's a sign for you to get stronger. It's a sign for you to grow in some manner or some form. And if it's sometimes too much, you just learn to express it and learn to like communicate and ask for help. And that was something that I didn't learn until like maybe a year ago, to like learn to ask for help and like practicing asking for help. So I think how I handle it now is definitely just like sitting with it, expressing it, and like connecting, and that connecting, and like just kind of reflecting every now and then, and just know that you're doing enough because you're doing more than what you were before is the biggest thing. And I don't really like self-reflect on like positively on like how I do, and I don't self-reflect negatively either, but I just don't affirm myself that I'm doing enough at times, where I just like, oh, like I gotta keep doing this. And then now it's like, when I get to that point, I'm just like, chill the fuck out. Like, and I wish someone would just tell me that sometimes. That's why I like tell my friends, like, yo, if I ever like spaz out, can you just tell me to chill the fuck out? Because I actually need it. Yeah. Because I don't know how to sometimes just calm myself down, because I just feel like I need to do more and more and more and get shit done, because I want to like succeed in my own, like what I think success is, but I also want the people that I love to kind of get from it, like, you know, like, because they help me grow, so I want them to not like benefit from it, I guess, in a sense, or like get something out of it, because I definitely want to like give back. That's the biggest thing, is like I just want to give a little bit back, like in some sense. And I think I do that with health and fitness too. It's just, I just talk to them about like, okay, you should do this work, and like, and me being that change at home, is just like, okay, I'm developing myself, but at the same time I'm trying to educate my family about this health shit, because I want you to stay longer because I want to live with you longer.
Yeah.
You know, like I want to see you longer. Like I don't want you to like pass away without me like having the memories that I want with you, you know? So
Yeah. No, that's super powerful. So you kind of play like that not oldest cousin, but like the older cousin that like a lot of people look up to, or like, would you say in that sort of way, or different perspective?
maybe I
Yeah.
just like, I just don't like to talk for myself like that. I feel like it's, mm,
Because what I'm hearing is that you take a lot of pride in, like, obviously giving back to your family. So that's why I'm like kind of
yeah.
asking about like, oh, like do you take super pride in like your little cousins like looking up to you and that sort of thing, or even pitching you?
So for me, I just don't like to take credit, if that makes sense. I think I just like to give and be okay and make sure that if they're thriving, then I'm like, oh, dope, then I get to thrive because if the people around me are thriving, then I'm thriving. Like
Yeah.
that's the thing.
Yeah.
So it's like me giving like pieces of advice or just even me just being there or just giving my influence or positive influence to them is like, okay, that's also just part of me, you know. It's
Yeah.
I think I accepted it as a part of me rather than like, oh, taking credit for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that also takes a weight off my shoulder too, because I'm just like, I don't want to be like, oh, I did this for you, you know.
Of course. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Don't want to phrase it that way.
it's
Yeah.
it's more like I'm really like glad that you feel better. I feel like I'm glad you feel okay again. That's just
Yeah, man. I mean, I would like to challenge you in a sense of like, maybe there are some circumstances that not that you have to say it to other people, but like you can say that for yourself. Like, I did this shit. Like, I was able to be a positive influence because of some things that I'm passionate about. And it's okay to say that. Like, it's okay to say that to yourself, right? There's a whole another path where you just don't take credit for anything and you're always on the go, go, go. But then like you realize that like, so that you go, 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 but then you don't see this shit, that these smaller wins that keep building and building to this trophy that you're putting up in your own mind. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Because like, again, like growing up, obviously dealing with that pressure too. It's like, bro, I'm getting straight A's. I'm an integral member of like the basketball team. I'm being a leader like in student council and all that stuff. I never give myself like credit for it because it was something that I was supposed to do, in quotations, something I was supposed to do. You're not supposed to do anything. Or don't have to do anything, but I'm choosing this because of being a first gen Asian American and like having to deal with pressures of like wanting to be good enough. And if I realize in high school that like, even at a younger age, it's like, yo, no matter what you do, it's like my parents will always want more. Like the biggest slap in the face for me when I look back at the time, I'm not mad at them now. I don't resent them for anything. Like I have a great relationship with my parents now, but like I would come home with like straight A's and like, had a really good basketball game and did really well. And like all of the other kids' parents are like commenting like about me, about how great of a kid I am. And like, when I bring that report back to them and say all that stuff, they're like, good job. And I'm just like, that's it. Like that, like, not like, oh, I'm so proud of you. And like, for all that you do, like you work so hard. And my mom is more commenting like, why do you keep working so hard? And I'm like, well, I got it from you, but also like, I want to build my own version of success too. And like, I think it's that sort of, for me, like how I'm taking in the information that you're telling me about how your words are saying like, oh, don't really take credit for something like this, or like take in compliments like for myself. Like it's more of me challenging you, like, hey, make like I'm not saying to go like from 0 to 100, but like take that credit because you deserve, you honestly like deserve it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'll definitely try to challenge myself with that.
Mm-hmm.
It just no, I'm not gonna say nothing because
No, please.
No,
it's an open conversation for sure.
no, I was trying to accept it, but then I also felt like I was about to like deter it, like,
Yeah, so
that's why I was like, wait, click, like stop,
Yeah.
like don't say anything right here, just fully listen and fully like just dwell with what he just said. So but no, you make a good point. I definitely have to give credit and bring it back to like what success looks like. It's never like, so I feel like the benefits that they may get is not going to be like what people think it is, like money or like a bunch of flashy things.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing, is like I'm not going to show off that stuff. I just want to like, I just want to have good experiences. I want to have like, I just want to be able to like explore food and all that stuff. You know, it's like I could care less about like, of course I want like to have a house eventually in my life, but it's just like I'm not really, that's not my first priority.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, my success comes from like within. And what I'm learning and what I'm able to output because of what I'm learning within.
Yeah.
And people won't see it like, oh, what's the point? But I'm like, you have to be in this state of being to understand what it is that like that feels like, because it's just a different feeling, I feel like. So,
Yeah.
a different feeling, I feel like.
Feel. No, I feel you on that for sure. Yeah, I never, well, for me, I agree with you too. Like I don't show my successes through flashy things or you know that whole meme about like you don't want to hit the lottery. I just won't tell you and like you know all the little stuff. But it's just like I never saw success in that sort of way. And I know at least in my culture, I'm not gonna generalize Southeast Asian culture, but what I've seen with my family, it's like what success means is what you can see physically.
Yeah.
Right? So like
in a sense,
all the Louis Vuitton bags and like jewelry and like new dresses and all that stuff like that is what they saw as success. But I can understand that because like when they came here to the US, it's like, what do they have? You know?
Yeah,
like
nothing.
absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
So why not benefit or celebrate yourself by getting the things that you never had as a youngin', right?
Yeah.
And like at first I was like, it's so funny because my mom would be like, I'd be like, Mom, can I get this like $60 game? And she's like, no, we don't have any money. Next day, new Louis Vuitton bag. I'm like, what the? I'm like, so you could get that and I can't get a $60 game? But understanding her now is just like she's rewarding herself and
treat
for
yourself.
all things and all that stuff. So another thing that I also think is crazy is that like when I think about raising a kid in the future, I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna pressure them so much on like getting good grades and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
But then there's the other part of me that's like, well, that's kind of made me the person that I am today, and I really love that. So it's like, how do I balance that? You know what I mean? Like, have you thought about that before?
Well, I feel like I'm in that phase of like relearning and making sure that I can like, because I was talking to my professor like earlier this semester. I was like, I was behind in my classes, but it's because I was like managing a lot more than I was used to, one, but also two, I was trying to change my mindset on learning a little bit more. Like I was like, how do I change my mindset from like caring so much about the grade to just wanting to learn? Because I'm in my head, I just want to learn and I don't want to tie it completely to a grade. And then he was just saying is like, if you take the time to learn like a little bit every day, your learning will match the grade eventually.
Yeah.
And I was like, even if you start off with a 70, a 60 or 80, like because your understanding is just so like new, it's like if you micro learn every day, it's just like, oh, that knowledge will become your wisdom, and that wisdom will show up in that form of a grade. And that's what I was like, oh, okay, now I just gotta practice learning, and that's the biggest thing. And if I was ever to raise a child, it's like, yeah, I would want them to just enjoy learning, because if they enjoy learning and they're curious about certain things, then the grades will come. But also along with the grades is like that person is going to be better off because they're curious, and because they're curious and because they're learning, they're able to make better decisions because they also have the wisdom to make better decisions. So
I hear you on that one. Yeah, I've always thought about that too. It's just like,
make it fun.
Yeah, make it fun, make it something enjoyable. Obviously there's subjects when you go through high school and all that stuff where you're just like, oh yo, bro, I can't do this for shit.
That's why you need study buddies.
Yeah,
Dude,
yeah.
I love it. Like ever since coming back to school, like I was like, I'm like so nervous to like ask people to study with me because like I don't know how they feel about studying and how they feel about learning.
Yeah.
But I was like, I want to learn, but I know there's people that are a lot more like foundationally better than me in these subjects. So then I just sometimes go up to them just like, oh, I just really noticed that you are understanding and like your comprehension is a lot better in this field. I was like, would you want to ever like just study together? Because I want to ask questions. I also want to learn. And I think that was the cheat code that I had, was just like going to this tutor center or just making a friend in these classes so that I can study and make sure that the knowledge that I have makes sense to me, but also I can maybe take on like how are they seeing this like this like curriculum, like so.
Yeah, I mean that takes also like a lot of confidence for you to go to do that, because not a lot of it's hard to just go up to a stranger and just be like, you know, hey, like, can you help me? Or like, hey, I just want to introduce myself.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
Because that's what I did last week. I saw like I just being in the gym, like it's an everyday thing for me. Like Monday through Friday, like I'm in there doing what I need to do, and it's I just like see the same people a lot. So I'm just like, oh, like my girlfriend's brother-in-law is he's a huge like gym guy and like is that guy in the community and stuff like that. And I was telling him, I was like, bro, like I like your confidence in this. Like I really want to like do the same. He's like, dude, just do it, because everyone in there is just like trying to get better. Like no one's like, I don't think anyone's really gonna judge you for like introducing yourself or anything like that, right? So then I had the confidence for some odd reason last week, and like I wanted to. This person was like that I always see is like took a machine next to me, and I was like, and then after I finished my set, I was like, hey, like I just went up to them, bro. My anxiety and like all the nerves, like so much heat was like from my chest
right
all the way back over here, and I was like, and I was like talking so fast, and bro, honestly, I don't even know if I said my name. I got their name, but I don't know if I don't know if I said my name.
Yeah.
But and that was something that I was struggling with too, because I was just like after I was like, damn, like I just spoke too fast, and like
You're judging yourself a little bit, huh?
yeah. But he was like, I debriefed with him and my girlfriend. They're like, just take it as a win. Like at the end of the day, like it is a win. Like, what do they say hi to you again? Like the next time you go back, that's up to them. But like you can't control that. You just know that you already broke the barrier, and that barrier is open if they want to explore. You know.
Well, I want to build off that because I'm very, very thankful for the people that I met, and like even though like because when I spent like 2-3 years of isolation just learning by myself, like my social skills, like nothing. And so like when I was trying to speak again, like that same feeling, like, oh my God, like I'm like anxious. I'm like, and I'm starting to really feel this nerve, and like having conversations again and speaking too fast and like not being able to communicate correctly or like being really awkward. And I really appreciate them for like just still wanting to talk to me even after like when I was still trying to learn to speak again and like wanting to be my friend still. And I was like, oh, thank you for just accepting me for what it was, because I knew how to converse and I knew how to be a good friend. I just didn't know, like I was just so like I was learning again. I'm just so anxious.
No, I feel
like
you on
help
that.
me out, like so
For sure. So you went on a alone journey for 2 to 3 years. I guess what made you do that?
It was, I mean, I don't know if you want to get into it. It starts from the dropping out of high school, I feel like.
Yeah, let's get into it. So you dropped out of school.
Okay, yeah. So when I was 18, 2018 was when I graduated, and then that same year I got accepted to UML, so then I went to UMass Lowell, and I took computer engineering, and I was doing well in school. Like I feel like I do pretty well in school as long as I put my mind to it. But it's just like I forced myself to study too much, like more than I need to. And like I got reminded just now, when I was in high school, I used to take notes of like the readings and my friend didn't. But like in lunch, I would like review with him. I'm like, all right, so this is what was important, and like blah, 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 this is what it is. I had a quiz, like pop quiz in the class. Took the pop quiz, like, wait, I just literally like took notes, read this, and I literally just reviewed it with my friend. I got like a 60 and he got 100. And I was like, damn, okay, maybe I'm taking good notes, but I'm like he didn't do enough.
Yeah.
And I studied way too hard for this.
Yeah.
But going back to like computer engineering, it was fun. Like I figured out like how to code a little bit here and there. I was messing around with gadgets with my hands. And I was like, okay, I do like hands-on stuff. And within the ending of that semester, or just within the semester, I was just starting to question a lot. I was just like, because it's my responsibility now. It's like after high school, it's like, oh, it's your responsibility for your life is now. Like, and no one really tells you that, but also no one really prepares you to properly study for college or properly like time management, organize, and make sure that you're able to eat like well and like, take care of yourself, because that's like a big thing in college, or else you just get burned out, you know? And I just hear a lot of people that got burnt out, and I just like feel for them, like, cause you just got pushed into it and like you weren't even prepared. So 2018, the end of 2018, I decided to talk to Fatana. I was just expressing my feelings. I would have went to my parents. I would have went to my family. Like nothing wrong with them. It's just that trying to talk to them about that, like dropping out or just thinking about that, I feel like they would have just said like, you can keep going, you got it. Like I feel like they would try to encourage,
Like
and
yes people.
yes people. And I didn't want that. I wanted someone to see it from a different lens, or see me like someone that doesn't really like, just someone outside, not too outside, but like outside enough that I'm comfortable to like share and be vulnerable with. And I went to him.
Also, Latana is like a past guest and is a friend of Petey's.
Yeah, my cousin.
There you go.
Yeah, and love you. But and yeah, he didn't really like give me any answers. It was more like he just asked questions for me to just speak, and him listening, and then him like asking questions that were following up on what I was saying. Like I ended up crying. Like I was like, wow, I haven't like cried in a while. And like the last time I cried was like for sports. I was like, we're in the semifinals, like crying. Like I put my heart out, but it was a different type of crying. I just felt it was relieving.
Yeah.
And once I like went back home and just like laid on my like bed, I was just like, do I really want to continue going to school? Because I enjoy learning, and I know there's benefits to learning and continuing learning. It's just that I didn't know if this is the pathway that I wanted to continue going, considering if this is going to be my future, you know? And computer engineering wasn't it. I could have switched fields and stuff, but it was just a lot to like try to figure out in one moment at a time. And I think that was the best thing. So like January came along, I was like, all right, I'm dropping out. Told my parents, and they reacted not, I mean, I didn't know how they would react. Like I honestly did not know. So when I told them, they were really shocked. Like I mean, I guess you'd be shocked because I was a good student.
Yeah.
Doing good in school, doing good in sports. Like I was always positive. I was always like doing well.
Mm-hmm.
And then boom, like the fall off. Like what the happened?
Yeah.
Like, so talked to them, they were getting really worried. My mom was very worried. It was like, what the hell happened? Like blah blah blah. And I think they shifted the blame to Bong Ryan, so I feel bad a little bit. So but I part of that, then going into, I'm not gonna go too deep into that, but it goes into my grandparents. My grandpa came up to talk to me when I was in my room. There was a letter that he wrote for me about telling me how proud he was and like how I've grown up. He read it during like my graduation party for high school, and he came up to me and sat me down when I was still at a vulnerable state about like dropping out of school. And he was like, this letter, like I can't even read it. Like I'm like really disappointed. Like it came out like that. Like I know he didn't mean like any harm, like, cause like they love me and they care for me, and I know where it's coming from. So I don't blame them for it. It was just, I was at a very emotional state where I was just like, I just was really upset. Like and then my aunt came down from DC and then had a conversation with me. Then my aunt from Boston came to like brought up the conversation, and then this that, and it's like, you should go back to school, you should do this, you should do that. And I was like, guys, I just wanted to be around you guys again, because I needed support, but I also needed people to be around me. That was the biggest thing. But like when that conversation happened, it just triggered something in my head, and I didn't mean to like react the way that I reacted. I don't remember how I did, but it was just, I would avoid them. Like for the next, like from 2019, I joined a gym called Pure Movement. I don't know if you ever heard of it. It's in Lowell. It's led by Angel, and he was like kind of my mentor along with Dabness. Like I appreciate both of them for what they were. And I basically went on a whole trip of like health and fitness right there. Like I went vegan. I went vegan for like 6 months, and that discipline of trying to be vegan and like working out was also me fixing my shoulder and like fixing my body, and saying no to the Cambodian foods that I used to eat. And like my grandma was worried, my mom was worried. It was like, you're getting really skinny, because I got really, really skinny, like scary skinny, because like I was not getting any protein, not getting any carbs anymore. So it's just like your body's not using it no more. But then that kind of like started my journey for like from 2019. Wow, I haven't broken this down before, so like I feel like it's just a lot. But it definitely transformed my mindset, because it went from meditation, like PM went from meditation, it went from like just strength training, but it also just like made me feel mentally stronger, and like it gave me another outlet, and it was a nice space to be in that felt safe for a little bit. And I don't know where I'm heading because I forget what the question was that I was supposed to answer because I'm just explaining
No,
the
it's going.
timeline.
Keep going. Yeah.
Uh, so then, yeah, for like because of the dropout, going back to my family, I just would go in and out out of my home and out of my room, and I guess I'll bring my brother into the mix too. But I was going in and out of my room, like I wasn't even like making eye contact with no one. My parents, like I just avoided them for like a good year. Like I just maybe like 6 months to like a year, but I don't know what the time frame was. But yeah, I just avoided them because I was just like, I don't want to hear it, and I just don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
So I just really was messing around with self-improvement. Like I was playing around with stocks, I was playing around with like money, playing around with like how to get better, reading a few like self-help books here and there, and then just sitting with my emotions, yada yada. And yeah, I was just trying to grow any way that I could.
Yeah.
From that year 2019. And yeah, 2019, 2020, and I just worked full time. Like I just worked money to get my money up, because like if I'm not gonna be learning right now, then I'm just gonna get my money up and work on my body. And then I ended up going coaching to 22.
Yep.
That's when I left my full time job. Dude, full time job was honestly really nice because it was good money.
Yeah.
For sure. But I think I got to live the luxury of like being able to buy anything that I wanted.
Yeah.
For a little bit, and then I realized like, oh, this isn't. I mean, I got the pleasure of that. Now it's like, okay, what lifestyle do I want to live? And then that's when I took a leap of faith and just like went off a whim. Just like, okay, let me coach for the middle school. And then when I got the opportunity to coach high school, I was like, all right, if I'm going to coach high school, then I have to quit this job because this job is going to be in the way of this coaching job.
Yeah.
And if I want to commit to this and I want to get better at this, I don't know where this is going to take me, but I saved enough money to like survive for maybe 2 years. And I was like, okay, I have to live very below my means if I really, really, really want to do this. So quit my job, went to coach, started coaching, and it was so hard. I almost quit after first month. It was girls, and like I said, like I'm still learning how to navigate coaching. And I just, like I said, I put a lot of effort in what I do. When I commit, I want to put in the best that I can, even if it's super like not good yet. You know?
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna try. I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna ask questions, and if you want to help me get better, then like I need you to hold me accountable. I can't. But I feel like high schoolers are not going to hold you accountable like that. They're just going to gossip a little bit here and there. Like, oh, this guy is a joke. Like,
yeah. They don't give you any chances.
They don't give you no chances. So like, if you one, twice, 3 times, they're just like, yeah. And you can just feel like that energy of like that pressure of like, oh, like they really don't really respect you like that. And like, you have to build respect. You have to build trust. And then like, I was like, damn, like, this is a lot. Like I didn't know what I was signing up for. I just thought I was going to coach and I was going to hopefully help them get better at this sport. But then it just became a lot more than that. It just became like, okay, now I have to work on like what it is, like building relations and building trust, building a structure, and like also just bridging the gap between coach and the students. Yeah. So yeah, it was, I mean, I could stop there, and I feel like I said a lot. So
no. I mean, that's such a tough journey to go through. I mean, to even avoid your house as much as possible, obviously go in and out, and have typically, like, honestly, like when you communicate to your parents that you're dropping out of school, and like having all your family members that you were going for support, but for them to be like, oh, you should do this, you should do that.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's such like the Asian way of like going about things, you know what I mean? But that's also tough too, because it's just like,
I love them. Like, I love them so much, and like it's just
And it's like, and it's also like but you guys, it's a very stereotypical like rebel response or something like that. But it's like, you guys don't understand like what I'm going through. You know what I mean? And it's just like, you like when you say that to like an Asian parent or Asian like immigrant parent. Yeah. They're like, what are you talking about? Like, I went through so much harder shit than you ever had to. So it's like, there's no winning against them to try to get them to understand like what you're going through in that sense, right? It also took a lot of courage for you to drop out of like to tell them, because like you could have just been like, oh, I'm going to school, but then not in
I could've
reality,
lied.
yeah, and
Yeah.
then you were going to like your full-time job.
I
or
wouldn't have been
whatever.
able to lie. Like, honestly, I probably would have said something. Something probably would have slipped up. Like,
Yeah. But like, I guess, did you pick computer engineering because that was something you were genuinely interested at the time, or did you pick it because it was like safe?
It was safe. Yeah. It was safe, guys.
I feel you on that.
Yeah.
Because that's why I picked accounting for my degree.
Mm-hmm.
My risky degree was sports management,
Mm.
because I really love sports. I was like, oh, like I could see myself like in the front office, so like
Yeah.
a team or anything like that. But accounting, like just hearing about it, it's like, oh, it's like security, like, you know, not a lot of accountants get like laid off and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Granted, I really do love the job that I'm in now, and like it's an accounting role, and like I honestly revamped like a new love or interest in accounting, so like I'm really appreciative of that. But like, yeah, no, in the beginning, like when I chose majors, I was like picking it because it's safe, not going for videography, director, anything like that, because it wasn't safe. There's no security to it. And convincing my parents that it was, I had to convince my parents that I was doing sports management, because they're like, oh, like what's the salary when they get out of college? And it's like on average like 35K,
Yeah.
because those people are working either sales and getting commission, or they're working on the operations like on the field and stuff like that, and like they're working long hours but not a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's not a lifestyle like I want to live. I can't live. It's not something that I don't want for myself.
Not in this economy.
No. No, not in this economy. But reflecting on your journey where you were alone, what were the biggest things that came out of it for you?
Understanding and acceptance, I think, is, I mean, at first, I think the first stages was getting past the negative like thoughts, and past like just like not letting, like, yeah, just letting go of all those negative feelings, like negative thoughts, and like accepting it for what it is. But that took a long time, because my brain was already like, you're not good enough, you got to do better, you got to do this. And I mean, I could come out with like, I usually come out with like good energy of just like, I'm happy and all that stuff. But like, that's why when I was alone, I was like, okay, I have to really, really figure it out now here, because I don't want this to be out there, because I feel like it was just such a big turmoil that no one should be responsible for, and that I'm responsible for what I feel and what it is that I'm going through. But it made me learn that people actually do need people, because I could only go so far on my own when I was like alone, because I lost social skills, like I said. Your mental, like, I mean, if you journal and stuff, I guess you can see it and reread it and review it and like, oh, this is not good. But like, sometimes people see like different things and like can shift your mindset a lot faster than you were able to do. So yeah, people need people. And then two is just, now I'm like really feeling a lot better. Like, I think because I worked my time alone, that the people that are around me get to seek the benefits of who I am now. Like my family, like I'm more connected to my family. I'm able to like listen and understand and be there with them, and like appreciate the moment and be present. And my students are able to like get that like energy of like, oh, I'm really excited to be here, and and I hope you are too. And just like they get the benefit of me healing and taking the time to myself to really figure it out. So
yeah, I mean, the amount of power that you had to be like, oh, like I just need to be alone to figure my own shit, face your own thoughts.
yeah,
That's like, oh man, that's the dude. It takes a lot.
Yeah.
Like not better, but harder than running a mile, or harder than like lifting heavy weights. Like facing your own thoughts and like looking at yourself and how you behave. It's a tough journey, but it's a very rewarding journey at the same time.
for sure. I feel like I look at it like it's either a dark void that you're just like running in, or it's like, I think my professor gave me an analogy. It was like, you have to pretend that you are envisioning a body of water, and just like any body of water, just like maybe the ocean, for example, and like you are that body of water. you are that body of water, and then there's a bunch of fishes, a bunch of sharks, a bunch of like different sea creatures within it, and that you have to remember you are that water. And everything else, those fishes that like pop up and come out of the waters, is your emotions and your thoughts, so that you have the option to attend to them when you feel like you are capable of attending to them. And you can ask questions like, oh, why do I feel that way? Why is this fish or why is this shark coming up, and why am I feeling so much anger about this? And then maybe something comes up and like you kind of figure it out, or you look at it and like, no, I can't really deal with this right now, but I acknowledge it and it's here, but I'm also going to return back to the water, because you need to return back to homeostasis, which is our body's way of like balancing or being balanced.
Yeah, that's a great analogy. That's a very I'm
Yeah.
gonna think about that one.
Yeah, I love that one. Yeah.
There's one more thing that I wanted to touch base on you with, and that is like how your brain functions in your process of dissecting negative thoughts or thoughts that you encounter. So for example, I'll give you an example. So for me, when I have negative thoughts of like, oh, I am not enough, it's like, okay, well, what event or why did I feel that way? What event made me feel that way? What did I feel? And then kind of break down of like, okay, I don't feel like I'm enough because I don't look or I feel like I don't look attractive or anything like that, right?
Yeah.
And then kind of breaking it down that way. So to understand like, oh wait, like, nah, that's just like my emotions kind of amplifying something that doesn't need to be amplified. So I guess like, what's your process with dissecting negative thoughts? Because I feel like you just did a lot of that while you were in your alone journey.
I feel like there's just a bunch of different methods.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
I feel like I was just like trial and error with a lot of different ones. But I think just like you said, like writing it down is like, once you see that negative thought and like can like break it down like that, seeing it visually is definitely something super important, because you can try to think about it and go in loops. But then if you can't really keep track of like how you went from not being enough to like, oh, I'm okay, because you'll only get to a certain point of certain thoughts, and then you'll be like, okay, what was I thinking about? Like how did I get here? Now it's like writing it down, like you said, and like seeing it visually, and then like kind of dissecting it.
Yeah.
Is definitely good. And with like just like my thoughts is just like tying it to a feeling. Like where do I feel this like emotion, or where do I feel this like thinking coming from? And then I just sit with it and just like get familiar with it and just like understand it, and just literally sit and then write it down when you feel like you're ready to write it down, and like dissect it. Because sometimes just going into dissection, I just feel like it feels unorthodox sometimes, or it just feels like a little bit forced.
Okay. Yeah.
So I just like to sit with it for a little bit, and then if sometimes I share out loud by accident. Like I just say like, oh, I want to kill myself. Like,
Yeah.
like I say it out loud. And I was like, wait.
Yeah.
Shit.
Right.
So, yeah, I think your method of just writing it down is definitely one of a go-to for sure. And then even just having the conversation with someone that you feel like is like trustworthy,
Yeah.
and feel like you can be vulnerable with, is definitely important. I was lacking that for a long time. But I think starting to like being able to build better relationships, I'm able to share it depending on like how I feel. But I feel like being an open book with certain people is nice, because they'll just like, without you thinking that they'll help you, they say something, you're like, oh wait, that was a great way to look at it, or that was honestly very healing to hear you say that. Because I could have said it like to myself and like try to believe it, but because you said it, I'm like, it really resonated a little bit more, and it sat more because you thought the same that I was thinking.
Yeah. It's so crazy how the stuff that we say to ourselves, whether it's positive affirmations or those thoughts that like our friend says to us, like has more impact than us saying the same thing to ourselves.
Yeah.
And I haven't really dissected that theory or why that does happen. I just think it's because we try very hard to be our own cheerleaders in life, but it's more reassuring and
Affirming.
Yes, affirming when it comes from someone else, because someone's noticing it
Yeah.
rather than like our own selves, I guess you can say. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's something I haven't really like dove deep to understand why when I say something nice about myself, like it doesn't hit the same as if someone else does, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I was thinking about like accumulation for some reason. I was just like, when you say positive things to yourself, it does like stack up. And then because you're familiar with that affirmation, when someone else says it, is like,
Oh
boom.
yeah.
Now it's confirmed.
Yeah. The confirmation. Okay,
Yeah, it's like confirmation.
Yeah, and it's just not just you.
Yeah.
It's so hard to like just not do that though. You know what I mean? To not have. I feel like it's in the brain or not in the human nature to just always not always, but like it feels so much better when it comes from someone else.
Yeah. You know what's cool now we're talking about the brain? There's this in psychology, they said there's I forget what the other one is, but ontogeny is like it's like saying that we're able to continuously evolve within our lifespan, and they're talking about the brain and how like we're able to constantly evolve, and I think that was super cool because I think the opposite of it was like we only evolve to a certain extent.
Okay, yeah.
And I think that was like having to do with our body and stuff. But ontogeny was like, oh, we're able to continually evolve throughout our lifespan. So you're continually able to change and grow. And you're just like, oh, wow, that's like so relieving. Like I don't have to be the same person that I didn't want to be for too long. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, there's this whole I've been talking about this a lot with like past guests, family, some friends, but like this whole sense of identity, right?
Yeah.
Identity is strong. When you say I am whatever, like that is something that like you believe in your core of what you resonate with. But there's also a danger in that, right? Because you hear the most of the negative thoughts of I'm not enough, or I am ugly, or you're putting such a like you're sticking that to who you are as a person, right? So like that's the only thing you think of. Therefore, we're boxing ourselves in like what identity is. But like, what if I'm like, oh, like I don't know, like I want to skydive or whatever, right? But like that's outside of my identity. It's like what? But why can't you do that thing, right? And it's a battle of like, say if someone's like trying to change themselves, right? There's this battle of like, okay, like I used to be this person, but I want to get there, but that's not this. But I'm not like I'm trying to articulate this well.
Yeah.
But it's just overall, it's
It
just
confines
like
you kind of like it confines you to a certain narrative.
yes, and you're trying to speak up. You're trying to stick with that narrative because that's all you know. But like you shouldn't be afraid to do things that are out of your comfort zone to lead you to a new identity.
Yeah.
Or your identity is made up of many
of
different
different things.
things,
Yeah.
and that's okay. You know what I mean? And I think that's like a problem that kind of starts some negative thoughts, I guess you can say. Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting because I feel like I never really knew what my identity was. I feel like I still was trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
But I think it was good for me because I was like, I'm okay with like exploring. Like I'll try a bunch of different things, and no matter what, like I'll try it, and trying is enough. So
Yes.
you are enough if you're trying. You are enough. That's the biggest thing. So
Yes, sir.
yeah. So that's pretty much what I can take from that you were saying.
I think that's a good way to put it too. And like it's in a way it's better that you kind of I wouldn't say didn't find a sense of identity because obviously you have.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
but it's like you don't put any labels on it. And I think from what just like talking right now, like it's those labels that were put on me by other people ever since I've been growing up. So like like smart, athletic, all that stuff, right? So if someone says something to me where they're like, oh, like you're not athletic, then I get offended because I'm like, you're critiquing my identity, right?
Yeah.
Or
yeah.
what I feel like is my identity, but like I should really understand like, okay, like that's your perspective and that's it. But you don't know me like that. But that's why the word stupid, when someone calls me stupid, that's why I get triggered because all my life people are like, oh, like you're so smart.
Yeah.
So like that's why I'm like trying to move in this area to be more malleable in my, what my identity is. It doesn't have to be all something that supports one thing. It could just be something from really different elements and stuff like that. Yeah.
I was also thinking that like for me, that's why I didn't want to take an identity because I wasn't confident in taking that identity. So like for like dancing, like I do enjoy dancing like for what it is, but I just don't think I'm at I wasn't confident or I wasn't at a level to say that I am a dancer.
Yeah.
So I'm like, so for me not to say that I am not like for me not to say that my identity is I am a dancer, it gives me a little bit of grace of like, I know I'm not a dancer, so, but I'm just going to dance anyways because it's fun.
Yeah.
So then it just allows me to learn and just allows me to just like, I can just do it. And you're not going to see the best thing like ever, but I'm just dancing. I'm not saying that I'm a dancer, but I'm dancing.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
like that's
There's less pressure into it.
It is less pressure for sure. And
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah, there's a lot of things that I think we battle in the sense of that identity and all that stuff. So, so I'm gonna go ahead.
wait, can I build off the identity?
Yeah, go ahead.
thing?
Yeah.
I think it's okay. Like you talked about labels, and I was like, I think it's okay to put labels initially, but just know that these labels can like transform. Not they won't complete like because like when I was like an athlete, like I did give up being an athlete, but I feel like it ended up transforming. You know, I feel like it's okay that you can put a label because it is part of your identity, but don't feel like you need to drop it completely. Just be able to transform it into like expand on it. Like what is it now that you are like from that identity? Like, you know,
I hear you.
So
yeah, no, that's a good point to put out about that. Start with something, but like don't restrict it.
Yeah, for sure.
So I want to open the floor to any topics that you may want to deliver to our audience, or if there's any questions about me that we haven't talked about, or get my perspective on something.
I always just bring up patience, and sometimes you just don't really see the results that you may think you need to see in order to feel like you are successful or succeeding or getting better. Like, because sometimes like tying it to a result kind of like takes away like the fun of the journey.
Yeah.
So I would just say, be patient and just enjoy the moment as much as possible. And if you're intentional with like what you're doing and what you want to be involved in, like the environments that you want to be involved in, whether it's sports, creative outlets, or just like friend groups or even like family, it's just like being intentional, like, oh, I want to connect, or I want to do this, I want to have a conversation with this person, or I want to have fun and just like try new skills out. It's set an intention behind like some of the events. Like it doesn't have to be every event, but like I feel like setting an intention every now and then, I think will fulfill you a little bit more with the things that you do. And I feel like that stuff, those will add up and like give you a result that you didn't expect, but you also like would really appreciate for yourself, for your experience, and probably like the people that are around you. So
yeah, man, I mean, like that's a very, very good point. It's a lot of, we're so focused on our destination with things, especially with obviously the new year has happened, so everyone's focused on whatever that they want to do, but gotta understand that there is a journey to it, and that's where you learn the most. Like I got an online fitness coach. He's one of my good friends, and like as we're going through this month, I was like, I don't really see a difference. Like I don't I'm like, is this working? Like, am I doing everything right? And then yesterday I put together a video of like comparison, and I was like, oh shit, like the like I've increased in weight, like the muscle, like the weight has been building, so it's like something's working there. But I was so focused on meeting like this destination that it's just like I was discrediting everything that I was doing along the journey. Yeah.
I mean, even my workout journey, it was like that in the beginning. But then eventually I just started like having fun with the different workouts and the different like movements that like I was like also focused on like, okay, where do I feel strong? So that's why I never really took pictures or like recorded my progress. And I'm kind of like happy that I didn't and wish I did sometimes.
Yeah.
Because I definitely would have wanted to see the progress from like, because even now, like I'm like, damn, there was one point where I was like, when the did I get like this? Like how did I like even like get anywhere close to looking like this? I don't even know how. Like it just kind of happened. But it was just because I was just so focused and just enjoying like moving again, and like enjoying that I can like actually be okay with moving without pain. So that was nice. So yeah, and I forgot where I was going with this, but
journey, not focus on the results, being able to change from one part of a traditional like way of looking at a fitness journey to now to a different one.
Oh, actually, I would expand on that because
go ahead.
You did a really good job. that was okay. I'm gonna have to ask you a question about that. Like, how are you doing this? Like, how are you listening so well? I'm gonna probably ask you that, and how you're breaking things down into certain sections so that you can come back to it. That was really good. But yeah, I just now my workouts they lean to unorthodox movements now, and I think that's what's fun. Like, it definitely like your main lifts are gonna be like super basic. I feel like most workouts are always leaning towards like the basic foundation of just like lifting, like squats, lunges, and
Bench
you have
presses,
like and bench, like those are basic. But then you can get to like lean into like other movements that like work for you in games and all that stuff. So that's what makes it fun too. Is like, oh, I can do a lunge, but now let's go into triple threat. Bah, 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 and like it just follow a rhythm. So like it just make it fun for you as well at the same time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to ask that question.
Yeah,
like,
go
so
ahead.
How are you listening one, and then how are you like breaking down certain sections so that you can come back to, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more. So I feel like I do have a good memory.
Okay.
It's a double-edged sword because it's like, that's also another reason why I can't let shit go because I have such a good memory.
Yeah.
And a very negative connotation of that, example of that is that like I've been in past relationships and like I've made my exes cry. So like those like I don't think about it often as I do now because obviously I'm in a very happy relationship now. But you know, I've those times where it's like dark, the head is dark and stuff like that. Like I just vividly remember hearing it and seeing it, and like sometimes that movie plays a little bit, and I'm like, but I understand. But then like that's where I go into dissecting it, right?
Yeah.
In terms of listening part, it's just like obviously I've taken a lot of practice with being a podcast host, but also like outside of being a podcast host, like for me, it's just like you were saying things that like hit my curiosity. So I'm just gonna be like, because they hit my curiosity, and I'm like, okay, remember to say this, this, and this. And that's where it comes from. I think mostly because it's like because I'm curious about it. Like either way, I want to find a way to get back to it because I want to know what your answer is. Versus like if I didn't really care about it, then I'm not really gonna bring it back up. 75% of the time, like I do get it, but like there's other times where like I did have a curiosity question, and then after we finished filming, I'm like, I didn't get to ask it, but like because we established connection, I could just ask you offline anyways, right?
Yeah.
So I think I've always been also a good listener too growing up. I've always just really emphasized myself on being a good communicator, and part of being a good communicator is listening things fully, and dissecting that as well. So yeah.
You did very well.
Thank you, man.
I think you do a really good job at it.
Thank
like,
you.
And even like you giving me pointers because I'm trying to listen to understand a lot better, and like things that spark your curiosity. Like you kind of, what is that feeling like? That spark of curiosity? Do you think like, yeah, what is that?
I think it's just things that I can apply to my own life, where I'm either struggling or I've been there before too, but like, how are you approaching it? Kind of sort of sense. And I think that's with anything, right? With passion, if you're passionate about something, you're gonna do all you can to try and understand those things. But if you're not passionate about it, then you're not gonna ask the follow-up question about it. It's like when you go to your least favorite subject in school.
Yeah.
You're not gonna really ask follow-up unless it's like, oh, like I gotta get ready for a test. So it's like, okay, how do you do whatever, all that shit? You know what I mean? So for me, that feeling is just like, this is shit that I'm going through, or like I think is a good. It's more of I'm going through / like talk or good talking topic.
Yeah.
That like I want somebody else's perspective on versus like just my own. So I can kind of, I look at on the other side of this camera is like all my guests.
Yeah.
And like every single time that there's absolutely at least one thing I learned from each and every one of them about how to like approach certain things in life. Like there's a guest that by the time this comes out has already aired, but like he taught me about like, bro, like what you put out is what you get back. And for me, and growing up, I was always being negative about stuff.
Yeah.
Think about worst case scenarios. So obviously when I'm thinking about certain things that happen to me, I think it's coming in a negative light. And it's not that you can't have bad days, but like if I just keep putting out positivity out there, like I just feel like it will come back in some sort of way, whether that's immediate or not. And another example of that is like when I was depressed, I was just putting like this like cloud around me, right? Like, oh, I'm not gonna get better. This sucks, all this stuff. Like, and at that time, it just felt like nothing was going for me. But I felt like if I just took some time to be like, okay, like, what's something good that I have today? What's something that I'm appreciative for today? Like going to class or like my boss or anything like that. I think it would have shifted my mind to a much healthier mindset versus like, you know, drinking my problems away or anything like that. Those temporary fixes that are not really true fixes in a sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was dope.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, thank you. I appreciate it. No one's ever asked me that. And I was like, how do I do that?
Can I ask another question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. Okay. There was not a question, but like a comment, I guess. Maybe it leads to a question. It's because you have a good memory, right? Like, because I'm thinking for me, like I think a lot of the times I think the word is compartmentalize, where I just like put it away, and then whenever I'm like ready, like I'll kind of come back to it. But most of the time, like I said, like with girls, I like shy away those. So like I put things away a lot, so then I don't really have the best memories because I just didn't want to associate with them. And so then I'm like, damn, it must be like painful in a way, or like to go through like the motions of like remembering certain things and like having to like actually like sit with all of it, whatever comes up type of thing. And I was like, damn, like that's another part of healing that I probably have to go through. And because I'm sure like these memories will start coming up as I like accept them, or as I like as I'm ready, or I get triggered from someone else. I'm like, oh, this is where it's coming from, because yada yada. But, yeah. So how did you get through all like those memories like coming up every now and then,
Yeah, I mean, I understood that like these memories aren't going away, and that in order for me to keep moving forward, I need to address them in some sort of way.
Yeah.
And because of that, I just made it very intentional, like how you do with like movement and fitness and all that stuff. I'm like, okay, like this memory keeps coming up. Why? What am I thinking about? And then being like, okay, well, why is it making me feel this certain way? Right? Going into the process of the negative thoughts at that point. And yes, it is hard. There are days where I think about, oh, like I did this bad thing. Oh, I made this mistake.
Yeah.
But it's because I finally understood that my brain at the end of the day is like trying to keep me safe. And the reason why it stored these memories is because like this is what you need to learn from and to not do it again. If it sucks, that's how it has to be. But like my brain is keeping things safe in a way, and that I like to think so there's the reality fear and an imaginative fear. My brain, I feel like, is filled up with a lot of imaginative fear. So that's like failure, rejection, being labeled as the bad guy.
Yep.
All those things that are
Shame.
quote unquote not really shame, guilt, that are not really fears. Like cave, like I compare like to like, caveman fears, where they had to fear for like, woolly mammoth or saber-tooth tiger trying to attack them, right? That's why I think it's like real fear, like your life is in danger. But these imaginative fears that like we have about failure, rejection, things in society that like our brain also just labels as like, oh, like we gotta stay away from that shit, because like it doesn't know what the difference is. And like for me, my brain, how I think about it is like it's playing those memories of those imaginative fears so that I don't do it again. But I'm in the stage of my life where I'm like, no, like I'm pushing through to help my brain understand like this isn't that bad at all. Because I understand that my dad, I know it's from my dad, he always thinks worst case scenarios. And I also used to think worst case scenarios too. But because of advice that I heard from people about positivity and stuff like that, like it's been a lot better in that sense. But it's not.
Every now and then you can do that.
Yeah.
Because you need to protect yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's I'm not sure what your original question was, but like I hope I answered it.
No, you did, and I love the real fear and like not what was it saying? You imaginary and
reality fear,
reality and imaginary. Like that one hit. I was like, oh, I gotta now like dissect. Like I gotta like separate that, because sometimes I just put them all together and then like think it's.
So that's what your brain's accustomed to do, right?
Yeah.
That regular pattern already. Yeah.
Yep.
Anything else on your mind?
Nah.
Yeah.
No,
good shit. Good
Yeah.
stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah.
It feels weird being on the other side. All right, man. So let's get into questions from the audience. We got quite a bit here. I'm gonna go off ones with our quick hitter. I think the quick hitter is, are you single?
Hell yeah, single, hella single, bro.
Are you looking, or are you kind of like, hey, like I just want time for myself?
No, I think I'm looking, because I definitely wanted to reach out and like meet people. It's just like I said, like intentions for other people are just very different, and so like figuring that out was something that I'm trying to work on. So
Got you. Okay. You heard that, ladies. You heard that. I guess you kind of already answered this one, but what led you to dropping out, and what was your thought process from there? So we did kind of touch base on it, but if you want to give a quick like synopsis, not synopsis, but like quick on that one.
Basically, it wasn't for me at the time. I think that's the biggest thing. Like I just went to good experiences. It just wasn't for me because I didn't know where I was going with it. If I had to go back, rewind a little bit, maybe I would have taken like a class or two classes a semester, or like even take a year off and then maybe like do two classes at a time each semester, just to like keep my brain going. But I was already like self-educating myself with like online stuff outside of it, so I was still, even if you were to think about dropping out of school, I definitely still advise to keep learning in some capacity, because it's really good for you in the long term, but also really good for your brain. So yeah.
Nice. I like how you put in a piece of advice for someone that may be thinking about dropping
Yeah,
out
yeah,
and
yeah.
going from there. And another question is, why do you get out of bed every day?
There's just so many things to experience and like learn, and I just think that part of being a human is being able to appreciate all that and enjoy all of it. And I think if you just wake up earlier, sometimes it just, there's more people that you can touch, like connect to, and just be around, and just there's a lot more things to enjoy when you're waking up. So waking up early, like 6 a.m. Sometimes I'd be waking up at 8 a.m. because sleep is important. So make sure to sleep. But yeah, I think waking up in the morning just means that I get to see the people that I love. That's pretty much it.
And waking up is a blessing in itself.
It is. Yeah.
Now, last question is, what is one thing that motivates you to? Okay, I think they just mistyped. What is one thing that motivates you?
One thing that motivates me. I mean, I thought about family. I think family is like I said, I want to give back. So I think family is a big thing. Like, they gave to me a lot. I want to give back. And yeah, I would say family first. Yeah.
So what/when was the moment that made you realize you wanted to combine health and wellness into optimizing people's lifestyles? What do you want to do with what you've learned so far? Love you, from Monica.
Yeah. So what started my journey? I feel like I said, it's probably just my injuries. Like, I just probably like leaned into it because I was like, I want to be healthy, and I just want to be able to feel youthful and feel young, and also just feel like I can do everything that I was able to do before, but also even better, because with the age you have more experience, and with the more experience you can make better decisions and like learn more. And in terms of like optimizing other people's lives, it's just like I want them to experience the same joy that I get to experience. And like I said, like family, like I hope that they can also live longer so that I can enjoy their time a lot longer.
Yeah.
So
Wow, that's I know you already mentioned that before, but I think it still hits different still that you re-brought it up.
yeah.
All right, man. So let's get into song association. This is a game that, if you're not familiar with, is basically I give you a word, you give me a song title or lyric. I prefer my guest to sing it, but if you don't want to sing it, that's completely fine. You can talk it, and then you'll give me a word. So.
Oh shit. Okay.
So I'll give you a word first, so that way you.
Interesting. Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna go something like pretty easy. I think it's like you. YOU.
I don't know why I was thinking about Thames, but you. Like, does it have to be in the title or in the like lyrics, or
It could be either. Song title or lyric.
All right, Thinking About You by Frank Ocean.
Nice. I've been thinking about you. Ooh, no. Where is he actually? I feel like I've been singing that a lot. Of like, where is Frank Ocean? What is he doing?
I don't know.
Yeah.
He probably just living his lonely life over there.
Right. True. Okay, now it's your turn to give me one.
I was gonna say me, but like that doesn't make sense. Like you, me. Like I'm trying to do something like. So
hey,
like,
we could do me.
So like Jackie Chan and like.
Oh yeah. That. If you haven't watched that scene in Rush Hour 3, you have to. And I didn't even get that scene until later in life.
You?
Yeah.
No, I'm me. You. He's you.
he's like me. He's like me. I am me. Not you. Shut up. Me, you, everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, but I didn't realize it was like spelled YU and then like MI, and I'm like, oh, that's why. I was like, because I didn't laugh at it at first. I was like, why? I was like, why is this so funny? I was like, bruh. Okay.
Fall.
Fall. Fall. There's a lot. The first one that came to mind was a James Bond song. It's Skyfall.
Oh.
And you stand tall. I think Adele sung it or something like that. That's the first time it came up to me. And then like any other song that's like all falling in love.
Yeah.
Elvis Presley, Falling in Love with You. Yeah. Fall's a good one. Fall is a good one. That's the first time I ever heard anyone come up with fall. So
I thought about
shit.
Thames.
Oh,
Because
okay.
remember how I was thinking about Thames? I was like,
Yeah.
oh, free fall. I was
Yeah,
like, oh,
yeah,
fall.
All right, man. So I just want to take some time to thank you for coming on and,
Yeah.
and talking about your experiences. I got to know you way a lot better than our own. Like, obviously, we don't get a lot of opportunities to interact with each other, but hopefully that changes.
Yeah, I
And
love this. Yeah.
And I'm glad that you went through a lot of self-reflection journey and that you were actually doing something that you actually want for your life versus like just doing something that's safe and like what that would be up to your parents. I just think your journey is like amazing, and that's
I
that
appreciate
way.
that.
So
Thank you.
thank you.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into the final 3 questions.
Final 3. Okay.
These are called the big 3 questions. These are questions that I
The
think
big
leave
one.
a impact on our viewers.
Okay.
So the first one is, if you could sit down with a young PD, what would be the words, advice, anything that you would say to him?
I've done this before. I definitely have. Like, I used to meditate on this too. That you're a beautiful person, honestly. Like, I think, like, genuinely, like soul, like, I feel like you were surrounded by a lot of good people, and you really do work hard, and you stay disciplined, and like, as much as you don't think that you are enough and like doing enough, I think that you are way more than enough. Like, just by the amount of intention, by the amount of work, and that your foundation is already like really well. And I just think that you should be more proud of who you are and what you've done for yourself, but also for the people around you, and just being that kindred spirit around those people that love you. So
Beautiful, man. Beautiful. My second question for you is, what does becoming the highest version of yourself mean to you, and how are you doing that today?
the highest version of myself is just making sure to check in with myself, like, daily or even weekly, and making sure that I'm just reviewing every now and then, and checking up and like treating myself. I think I've already worked hard enough to like stay disciplined, stay organized, and make sure my time is good. It's just like, now being the highest version of myself is making sure to make time to reward yourself, but also to hang out with the people that you enjoy, because those connections will help you grow a lot faster and become the highest version of yourself.
Nice. And my last question to you is, if you could connect me with someone to come on the podcast that you think would be good, who would it be and why?
I thought about my captain from high school, Butley, because I feel like he is a very athletic person, and like, he played in a college level, and he was just someone that went through the motions of education, like 4 years or 5 years of schooling. He went to his master's and then played the sport that he enjoyed in college. And I don't know what his journey was like, but I also just like admire him a lot for I feel like surface level, and I want to kind of get a little bit deeper of like what it is that he had to go through in order to become the person that he is, and what is the pressures that he had to overcome as like another Cambodian American.
Yeah, let's make it happen, bro.
Yeah.
Thank you again, man, for obviously everything that you've brought out into the pod, a piece of advice, your journey. Again, very honorable, courageous journey, and I'm in your corner, wishing you best of luck with everything, and
You too, man.
hopefully next time you don't take my ankles. So all right, guys, if any of this episode resonated with you, please like, share, comment, subscribe, clip it, tag me and PD in it, and as always, let's fall in love with the process of getting better every day and becoming the highest version of ourselves. Love y'all.